Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Stats and Stacks podcast. So we're going to talk about UFC Vegas 28, Rozenstruik versus Sakai. But first thing is first, I could not wait until this edition because we're looking at our fifth or sixth edition of the Stats and Stacks in regards to UFC. The first two were winners. We are happy. The next two, we actually came out on the losing end of the bets. But last week, I mean, we went a week without any sort of UFC action, but the last podcast, a week and a half ago, we went 12 for 12 on picks. Never in my life have I gotten every single fight right in regards to the bet. We got the dogs, we got the Van der Ova, we got the Dumont dogs. We crushed it, made such a huge profit. It's going to be damn hard to lose, to be negative for the next few months. I am so hyped over if you followed any of the bets last week, you made bank. And you know what? I did too. So there's no words to describe how hype I was last week, how hype I am still today. But at this point, here we are, and we're ready to just repeat. It's not going to be a one-time thing, baby. We're going to continue to be on a heater, continue to be on a hot streak. That's the goal. I'll be honest with you. This card, it's tough. It's going to be tough. It's a very, very tough card. But hey, if you go 12 for 12, you're coming in confident, baby. So let's get this thing started. We'll start with the very first fight of the night. We have Claudio Puelles going up against Jordan Levitt. We have Claudio coming in at a plus 170 underdog roll, with Jordan Levitt at a minus 200. We have the over 2.5 at plus 105. The under 2.5 at minus 135. We'll start with Claudio because there's not a lot to write home about this dude. In all honesty, he's not good. His opponent, Levitt, not good. I don't like either fighter. I don't want to touch this fight, but we have to pick a side somewhere. Puelles' wrestling's okay, I guess, based on the tape I did. It's not the greatest. I can't say it's good. I can't say it's bad. It's just kind of there to an extent. He has a good ground game. He's a BJJ black belt. He's really good there. I'll give him his due on the ground. His striking is non-existent. It's not good whatsoever. The only reason anyone could even think about betting this guy is because he's young. He's 25 and he's on a 2-year layoff. I mean, the last time we saw this dude was in 2019. It's been 2 years. So when you're that young, you can improve a lot. And we haven't seen him in 2 years, so we don't know what his stand-up is like now. We know his BJJ was already okay. So, I mean, maybe he made a vast improvement there. You're really taking a wild card here. I mean, his last few fights, it's not like he's fighting any sort of world beaters and Martin Bravo or Philippe Silva, Marcos Mirinano. They're not great competitors. And honestly, Philippe Silva, in all honesty, was whooping his ass until he caught him with his ground game. I mean, he's good on the ground. That's all he has. That's all I can say about this guy. He's not good. He's not really UFC caliber. At least he wasn't when the last time we saw him when he was 23. And it's not his fault. He's young. He has a lot of time to improve. I just think he made the jump a little too early. But again, we don't know what's happened these last 2 years. And talk about people that's not UFC ready. Jordan Levitt's 26. He's only a year older. He's not that. He's still kind of green as well. You want to talk about Puelles' stand-up game being non-existent. I did the fight study. I don't even know what Levitt's looks like. I sincerely don't know. I haven't seen it. He goes in, shoots takedowns immediately. His ground game, again, is pretty legit. If you don't recognize by his picture here, he's good on the ground. He's a brown belt or a purple belt, but he fights like a black belt. He's really, really good on the ground, but on top. So, I mean, if he's on bottom, I don't know if he's going to offer a lot off his back against Puelles, but at the same time, I think he's a little bit of a better wrestler than Claudio. So I give him the wrestling edge. The jiu-jitsu game, I'm going to have it be a wash. And the stand-up game, I don't know what either one of them do on the feet. So this is a complete stay-away fight. You're going to have a lot of this card, in all honesty. If I had to bet anything on this fight, I should say the pick would be Levitt, just because he has the better wrestling. But when it comes to a bet, I would stay the hell away. But if you had to pick one, I would do the over, because generally, when you're both good on the ground, you can cancel each other out. It's a big chess game, and hopefully it goes the whole round. And it's plus money to go over. So I don't think either one's going to tap the other one out. The feet is a wild card. So if you're going to bet, if you absolutely have to bet the over. Otherwise, please do not bet this fight. I'm telling you right now, this is not one you want any piece of. Then the next fight of the night, we're kicking it off early, man. We got Youssef Zalal going up against Sean Woodson. You got Woodson as the minus 190 favorite. Comeback on Zalal being plus 150. Over 2.5 is minus 250. Under 2.5 is plus 200. We'll start with my boy Zalal, man. I like Zalal a lot. I think he's really good, but he's another one of these people. He's a kid, man. He's 24 years old. We're watching him kind of grow up and develop in the UFC. He came in as a striker, but you look at his wins against like Jordan Griffin, Austin Lingo, Peter Barrett. I mean, he's getting like 3 takedowns a fight he's averaging. So he's just an all-around MMA guy, man. He's not just a striker. He's an all-around mixed martial artist. I like Youssef Zalal a lot. He's another one where I feel like if he took his time coming in, he would develop a little more in the stuff. But again, he did fine. I mean, he was on a 3-fight winning streak in the UFC. Then he hit a little bit of a rough patch. But Ilya Tapora is the real deal, man. That kid is good. He's also young. He might be younger than Zalal, in all honesty. I think he is. But that's just 2 top prospects going at it early. That Taporia kid is good, and he's undefeated for a reason. And same thing with Sung Woo Choi. You look at his record; he's 8-3, but his losses were against really, really good guys, and he's good. I mean, the thing is, he had a reach advantage, and it seemed to bother Zalal a little bit. Zalal can wrestle, and Zalal is good on the ground. But that's not his trait, man. He's a striker first, who's developing his all-around game, and you're watching him develop. I like Youssef Zalal a lot. In all honesty, he's probably I wouldn't say he's one of my favorite fighters. He's one of my favorite fighters in the division, because we're watching him develop. We're watching him get better. He could be a future champ 8 years down the road. Kind of take that Charles Oliveira route. Where he looks good, he looks promising. He's taken some L's, but you see the improvement each and every time. That's the complete opposite of Sean Woodson. Sean Woodson, I can't stand, in all honesty. I don't like how like lanky he is. This dude, you want to talk about a reach, a 79-inch reach at bantamweight. This dude is skin and bones. I mean, even looking here, this is after after you cut weight and then you actually have the fight, you're able to eat and stuff like that, and you're still seeing his bones. Like, this dude is just naturally skinny. It looks unnatural. He looks like a newborn baby out there, a little baby deer. I don't like this guy. And mainly because he's one-dimensional. I cannot stand one-dimensional fight. And that might be why I like Youssef Zalal so much, because he's a striker that comes in and averages 3 takedowns and has a good ground game. Sean Woodson's the opposite. He comes in, he uses that reach. He's a great boxer, not kickboxer, just a good boxer. No power, really. You look at his record, he has that flying knee win. I mean, you're all skin and bones. That knee will affect you eventually, but you're looking at not a lot of finishes, a ton of decisions, and he's just a point fighter. He doesn't hit hard. He has 0 power whatsoever. His gas tank is questionable. I've seen it good and I've seen it bad. And his wrestling, it says that he has like a 80% takedown defense in the UFC. But his very first fight in the UFC, the guy shot 15 takedowns and got like 1. So that skewed the numbers a lot. His wrestling's not that good. Like, it's okay. He's defensively sound, but he's one of these guys where you can get in, and even the guy that couldn't take him down was getting a lot of good deep shots in. He was timing it well. It's easy to time. But if you're just not naturally a wrestler like that, it's going to be hard to complete. I feel that, in all honesty, bias aside, I don't agree with the line, but I think Woodson should be the favorite, because the one thing Youssef Zalal struggles with is reach. That's really what he has a problem with. And Woodson is the definition of reach, having a 79-inch reach at bantamweight. So if I'm using my mind, I'm going to go with Woodson. However, Youssef, the one thing I really like about him is he's very, his fight IQ is high. It's a high level, and he knows he has to get the takedown. He knows that he's 10 head and shoulders better on the ground and that he can submit him on the ground. So he is going to come out with his wrestling singlet, but I don't think he's one that's going to come out and just just automatically shoot in, because that's what Woodson's expecting. I feel like if he times his takedown right, he can hold Woodson down. And the line is too wide. I mean, if you're giving me plus 150 on the better fighter, Yusuf Zalal is the better overall fighter. It's just the things that he struggles with are the things that Woodson naturally has. So I understand Woodson being the favorite. He should be the favorite. But if you're giving me plus 160, plus 150 odds on Zalal, it's a dog or pass situation. I would say the over for sure. But at the same time, minus 200 is getting kind of steamed. Or sorry, minus 250. That's getting steamed a lot. So this is a dog or pass situation. Woodson has the tools. Zalal, the better fighter. And if you're giving me plus 150, plus 160 on the better fighter, I'm taking Zalal, man. And I do have a bet on Zalal. It's partially, I'll be honest with you, you don't have to trail me. That's partially just betting with my heart because I like Zalal, but he is the overall better fighter. So why not take the shot with those odds? Then the next fight of the night, we have a late replacement here. We have Manon Fiorot, who I like a lot. She's going up against Tabitha Ricci now. It was, excuse me, Mariana Moreau, but Moreau had to pull out this week. So we have Tabitha taking this fight on short notice, a week's notice, and she's generally a strawweight. We'll start with her because I, in all honesty, don't know a lot about her. I know that she's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and I know that she's a strawweight. In all honesty, that's about all I have. You look at her wins. The girl was 2-3, 1-5, 1-2, 0-0. So she has never beaten anyone with a winning record. So yeah, it's easy to have to be undefeated at 4-0 if you never fought anyone with or 5-0 with a winning record. So then you look on the flip side, and you look at her opponent, you look at Manon, and there's a reason I didn't say the odds because it's a late replacement. They just added this. We don't have the odds. I know I saw one site where Manon was like a minus 500 favorite, so it's unbettable. And what I would look at, the over-under for women's MMA fights are generally the under is plus money, the over is steamed generally. If it's this way, I'm taking the under. Because when you look at Manon, man, I mean, just look at her picture. She looks fierce. She's as fierce as she looks. She has it all. And the best thing I love about this girl is that she has a really, really good stand-up game, a lot of power that you don't see at flyweight. I mean, look, head kick, knockout, punches, ground to pound, KO. Like she's getting nothing but knockouts in her fights. She lost her very, very first fight and in a split decision decided, well, losing sucks. I'm never going to fucking do that again. And just hasn't. Like she's good. And the best part is you look at some of these exhibition fights and you look at some of these other fights. You look at this one here. It says ground and pound at UAE Warriors. She in an interview said that she has good wrestling and she takes people down, which is weird because she's known as a striker. She's known as a kickboxer, and that's where she shines. She said that she wanted to test out her wrestling grappling early in the regional scene because when she gets to the UFC, she knows the stand-up is going to be at her advantage and people are going to try to exploit her wrestling and her jiu-jitsu. So she wanted to address that head on, and I love that mindset. She's someone that is phenomenal at stand-up fighting and wants to be an overall martial artist. So I love this girl's attitude. I love her talent. It says she's 6-1, but she has so many professional kickboxing fights that this is a little bit a lie. She has when it comes to professional fighting experience, she has a ton. So don't let the 6-1 fool you. This girl is the real deal. She has power. She's just different. And I like her. I like her a lot. So I'm going to take her and to juice it up because you can't take her at minus 500. There's no value there. I would just take either the under. That way you have yourself covered in case this girl ends up getting an arm bar from guard or something. It is women's MMA. And or if she knocks her out early, I would just take whatever the under is. If that's steam now, I would take her by KO and see if you can get any sort of even or plus money. But Manon is the pick. In regards to the bets, the lines aren't really out. I would either take the under or I would try to have to do a prop and do her by KO. In all honesty, that's how she would get it done. And then the next fight of the night, We have Alan Patrick going up against Mason Jones. We have Mason Jones as the biggest favorite on the card at minus 305. We have Patrick coming in at plus 230. The over 2.5 is minus 130, and the under 2.5 is even money. And in all honesty, I agree with these lines because Mason Jones is the real deal. The common theme with this card, see a lot of young fighters that the UFC wants to push that are kind of newer and they're just trying to gauge at where they're at. Mason Jones is one of these. He's young. You look at him, he's 26, coming from Cage Warriors, former Cage Warriors champion. One loss, and it was his last fight. His debut fight was against Mike Davis, and that's no easy feat. I think Mike Davis is very, very good, very, very underrated. And the UFC knows what they have in Mike Davis, so they really wanted to test this kid. And you know what? He was up for the challenge. He lost, but it was a valiant effort. He didn't look outmatched anywhere. His striking defense leaves a little desire to be desired. And his striking offense, I mean, he looked good on the feet. He got taken down a little. That's another part that scares me just a touch. He is pretty easy to take down, even on the regional scene. His fight tape, I've seen him take down easily, but he pops back up. And it's not like he has to, it's because he wants to, because he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt as well. So he has the ability to finish you on the ground. He has the ability to finish you on the feet, and he kind of dictates where he feels best in the fight. So, I mean, just look at his record: rear naked choke, punches, rear naked choke, knees to the body, decision. So he has a gas tank. He has a good gas tank, as we saw in the last fight. He's just an all-around complete fighter, and he's young and improving. And I like this kid a lot. I think he's going to be something. I don't know if he'll ever be champ, but he could be a perennial like top 5, top 10 guy in the weight class. I cannot say the same about Alan Patrick. I don't think Alan Patrick's going to get any better as time goes because he's already 37. So these are one of these aging veterans where, in all honesty, they're just trying to give Mason Jones a rub. I can't tell you what Patrick's good at. He's good at the ground, and he's one of these pressure wrestlers. He does not like to get hit. If you touch him, he is shooting for a takedown, no setup, nothing. He's just coming in head down, shooting a takedown. And he's not good. I mean, you look at his record and you would think he is, seeing 15-3, but his wins, I mean, Damian Brown, Stevie Ray, these guys aren't in the UFC anymore. John Medeski isn't the greatest. He's all right, I guess. He's not that good. Garrett Whitley, I mean, all the guys he's beating, he's only beaten like 1 or 2 guys that are still in the UFC, and he's been in the UFC since 2013. So you've been in the UFC for 8 years, and the only wins you only have 2 wins over people that are still currently in the promotion. That's suspect. He has a lot of soft matchups, and especially prior to, I mean, he came into the UFC undefeated, fighting nobodies. I mean, 17-15, 5-3, 3-6, 2-0. He's not fighting anyone good, and he's getting exposed. So, in all honesty, the pick is going to be Mason. It sucks that the line is so high. I want to say he's a lock, but the line minus 305. So, you could go under, in all honesty. The under 2.5 is even money. And Patrick has been finished before. Again, he doesn't like to get hit. So the pick is Mason Jones, 110%. The bet, if you want to chalk, lay him in the parlays. Don't lay him by himself on that money. Put him in some parlays, I guess, as your headliner. Otherwise, you can go the under with even money, and that's not a terrible bet. And I probably might have that, or just put him in parlays to be determined. I need to look at the weigh-ins. Then the next fight of the night, we have Muslim Salikov going up against Francisco Trinaldo. It's an interesting fight, in all honesty. It's weird because you have Muslim coming in at minus 240. That I don't like. I like him to be the favorite. I don't like him at minus 240. Trinaldo, you have plus 200. It's tempting, man. The over-under, they actually haven't came out with yet. I don't know what's taking so long in regards to this. It's not a new fight. But I don't know if Vegas just doesn't know what to do with it. So we'll start with Muslim. Excuse me. He's good. The king of kung fu, I believe he calls himself. He's one of these Russians. You think of Russia, you just think of these power wrestlers. He's one of the very rare strikers, kind of like Zabit and things like that. Like he's and Umar Nurmagomedov. He's striker before he's wrestler, and he's damn good at it. I mean, his 17-2 record is true. He's fighting decent competition. He's winning all of them. A ton of power. This dude is the definition of power. A lot of spinning kicks, and a lot of like spinning attacks. His wrestling is getting ever improving. You used to see it be a little bit of an issue back in the day. Even his loss in the UFC to Alex Garcia, he got taken down and choked out pretty easily. But again, that was years ago. That was 4 years ago, and you see the constant improvements. And believe me, if wrestling is your weak part of your game, living in Russia, you'll definitely be able to find some people to help you out with that. So you see him improving in that. His cardio is okay. It's not good. It's not bad. He's one of these guys that's slow, but not to the point where it's negatively impacting them. So he's all around just a good fighter. Again, he'll never be champ, probably never top 10. He'll always be a perennial like top 15, top 10 at the highest because it's welterweight. Maybe he can crack that top 10, but he'll never go higher than 9 or 10. Then you look at his opponent in Trinaldo, and you would think Trinaldo could win this. He's a live dog, and he is, because he's a decent wrestler. He's really good on the ground, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. So if the key is to take down Muslim and tap him out, you'd be like, oh, well, why is Trinaldo a plus 200 underdog? Red flag number one, he's 42 years old. Not good, not good at all. And you want to make matters worse, he's a lightweight. He's coming up to welterweight. The last fight he had against Jay Herbert, he ended up missing weight by 4.5 pounds or 4 pounds or something like that. He knew he was going to struggle, and he knows that he can't make lightweight anymore. He's too old. His body's not going to allow him to do it, so he has to move up a weight class. So I don't know how I feel about that. Secondly, his path to winning is wrestling and tapping him out. If he comes out and he wrestles and he struggles to get the takedown, that is the surefire way to gas yourself out. And his cardio is not anything to write home about. And I think it's mainly because he's 42 years old. So if you can't come out and wrestle because it'll make you tired, and you can't come out and strike because the guy is a kung fu artist, how do you win the fight? He's durable. I can't tell you the last time he's been finished. If you ever, let's see, Kevin Lee finished him in 2017. He got tapped out once, but again, Muslim's not going to tap him out. That was all the way back in 2013. That's about it. So he's only been submitted. He's never been knocked out. And Muslim's not going to tap him out. I'll tell you that right now. So, I mean, in all honesty, Trinaldo has all the paths to win. Trinaldo's probably the better overall fighter because he has a ton of power too. He's not really technically fine on the feet, but all it does is take one punch. S.J. Herbert, it only takes one. However, this is at welterweight, and he's old. And Muslim, I mean, Kung Fu, it's really, really tough. I mean, that karate style, it's very tough to catch these guys. So I agree with Muslim being the favorite, just not minus 240. So at this point, I would bet either whatever the over is. I would take a look at it when they do lay that line out. If it's an over and both of you guys are durable, I would take the over to feel the safest. If not, or the over is just a ridiculous amount, it's a dog or pass situation. I like Muslim. I think he's going to win, but plus 200 on a guy that has multiple ways to win, it's the same thing as Zalal. Like, you got to take the better overall fighter, even though I don't think he's going to win. That's the way you bet. So I would bet the over, or I would bet Trinaldo based on what the over price is. All right, very next fight of the night. We have one I'm looking forward to. We have Tanner Boser going up against Yair Latifi. We have Tanner Boser coming in at a minus 205 favorite. Latifi comeback is at plus 160. Over 2.5 is minus 140. And the under 2.5 is plus 110. We'll start with Tanner Boser. He's good. I mean, he's not great. He's good. He's okay. He's pretty durable to an extent. Not like he's going out there getting knocked out often. Looking at his career, he's only been knocked out once by Tim Hague. Otherwise, He doesn't have a lot of knockout power himself, though. He's one of these guys, great cardio for heavyweight, really, really good cardio, but he only weighs in at like 230. So he's one of these guys that at one point did fight at 205, and then decided he'd rather just have a speed advantage at heavyweight, which I understand. I mean, Stipe was world champ when he was weighing in at 230, so I totally get it. You have to cut less weight, and it gives you a speed advantage, especially the way he fights. He tries to be Stipe. He is like an oldies version of Stipe. Like he's okay, just not durable. He's really just nothing to write home about. I mean, that's really the best comparison. He's literally a Stipe Miocic, like C plus B level. Then you look at only difference is his wrestling. His wrestling suspect. When you look at it in his UFC run, he had Andrei Arlovsky, Rafael Pessoa, Philippe Lenz, Cyril Gahn. None of these guys are wrestlers. So on the regional scene, watching some of his fights, he's gotten taken down. And you look at some of these unanimous decision losses, it's because he got taken down. And he doesn't have a lot to offer off his back. He's not getting out. He's not just going out and getting tapped out, but he's not a threat on the ground. And it's not as if he can just pop back up. He really does seem to struggle when he's off his back. And that's a problem fighting Latifi, because Latifi is the most low volume heavyweight in the UFC. Him and Big Ben are competing for the title. I mean, his very, very last fight against Derek Lewis, who is now about to fight for a world title, he beat Derek Lewis. As a wrestler, there's a former wrestler, I should say, there's a lot of effort that goes into the takedowns and to control. I don't think everyone understands how hard it is to control someone on the ground. You're telling a grown man, nope, I'm going to keep you on the ground. You can't get up. I'm going to physically tame you down. Like that, it takes a lot of effort to do. And he did so. He didn't lay a lot of damage at all. Like 6 strikes around, even though he had the takedown. So that's really, really bad, really, really low volume. But Derek Lewis didn't do anything damaging or anything like that to win that fight. So I don't care what they say. I'm telling you right now, Latifi beat Derek Lewis. And if he can take down Derek Lewis, hold him down, and beat number one contender right now, what makes you think he can't do it to Tanner Boser? This dude is an Olympic level wrestler in Sweden. His cardio's bad. All right, I'll just leave it at that. It's bad. He's at about 2 rounds, 1 round and 3/4 in him. So, but that's all it takes. It's a 3-round fight. All he has to do is take him down, lay and pray, and just land a few more punches. If he learned from that Derek Lewis fight, throw 10 more punches each round while you're on top, and you win the fight. And I feel like he can do that against Tanner Boser. And when you look at the odds, Boser being minus 205 and Latifi being plus 160, give me the dog. If it's striker versus wrestler, I will always take the wrestler unless there's a big, big, big reason. And at this juncture, when you look, even like I said, like 2 weeks ago, when you're in trouble with a heavyweight fight and it's lower level, just take the dog. If you don't really have a strong lean anywhere, take the dog. And you know what? It worked out last week with Jared Van der Rova at the same odds. So I'm going to go back to the well. Give me the Olympic wrestler against someone who can't wrestle. That's common sense to me. Give me the plus 160 and give me the payday. So the pick is going to be Latifi. The bet I already had on Latifi before that odd, and money's coming in on him. So if you're going to jump on it, do it now, prior to seeing anything at the weigh-ins or anything like that. Hurry up and jump on it now, before the odds start to go in the other direction. So get Latifi. We're going to make some money. All right. Next fight of the night, we have a women's fight. We actually have Montana De La Rosa against Ariana Lipsky. We have Montana coming in at minus 275. That's disgusting. Coming in against Ariana Lipsky at plus 210. I have the over 2.5 at minus 250, under 2.5 at plus 200. God, Montana De La Rosa. You always have these fighters where you see the improvement, and you see them in losses and you go, oh my God, they look so good in a loss, but they're losses still, irregardless. And that is the Mayra Bueno Silva fight. It was a draw, but there was a point deduction for a fence grab. So she lost. There was the Viviana Arroyo fight. Oh my God, her stand-up is ever improving. But it was a loss. Like, I don't care how good the people are getting if they're losing. Like, that's end of the day, we're here to make money. not see the improvement people are making. So she's a wrestler by nature. I do admonish the fact that she's getting better on the feet. She's really a true martial artist. She's trying to perfect every part of mixed martial arts, and most of her wins are by submission. So she's good on the ground too. But I like Montana De La Rosa. I respect Montana De La Rosa, and I do see her getting better. And I do want to bet on her, even here. But minus 275. That's a problem. Especially, I mean, Ariana Lipsky, she's bad. She's not good. In all honesty, she's just one of these girls that the UFC thinks looks good, so they can try to push her. That's all it is here, in all honesty. If she didn't look the way she did, she wouldn't get pushed. I mean, look at her. That's the only reason she's getting a push. She's not good on the ground. I know it will show her a win over Luana Carolina. That knee bar, if you've ever seen someone like, think about Shaq on the free throw line. He's notoriously bad, right? Whenever he got the ball at the free throw line, you saw him grab the ball, think about his form, like you could see the wheels turning, and then shoot, and it would be all mental. When you watched that knee bar, you saw her grab her knee. She's like, oh my God, Luana's just giving it to me. What do I do? Is this the right technique? You saw the wheels turning as she grabbed the leg and got the knee bar, but it took too long to process. It was not impressive whatsoever. I don't care that it was a knee bar in the first round. If you physically watch it, Luana was not mentally there for that fight. And when I saw Lipsky take that knee bar, it just looked off. Like she was thinking too much about it. So I will give the grappling edge to De La Rosa. And when it comes to the striking edge, I would say it's pretty even, but I will give Ariana just the slightest edge. If Montana is a B minus, I will give Ariana a B. It's just a touch above. The cardio is indifferent. It's the same thing, but the wrestling, I don't think Ariana Lipsky knows what wrestling is. I don't think she knows that it is a part of mixed martial arts. She got taken down by Joanne Calderwood, who is a Muay Thai striker. She got taken down multiple times by Molly Meatball McCann. Meatball is a British boxer. That part of the world, I have no quarrels with Britain, but they are not known for their wrestling. And especially boxers are not known for their wrestling. She got taken down by a British boxer multiple times. That's bad. She got taken down. This is the worst. And grounded, pounded, and finished by Antonina Shevchenko. Like these are the worst wrestlers in the division statistically, and they're all taking her down multiple times with ease. She's going against Montana De La Rosa, who is predominantly a wrestler. This is the easiest. The line started, De La Rosa was like minus 170, I believe she opened up, and she's minus 275. That tells you the betting public bet her that she's going to be minus 300 by the time this fight goes off. There's a reason. I'm telling you right now, the only way Lipsky wins is if De La Rosa wants to continue to improve her striking and wants to prove that it's gotten better and kind of test her and say, no, we're the same on the feet and make it as hard as physically possible. But I guarantee if she's losing, if she just breathed on Lipsky, she would fall over. She would be able to take her down at will. So the pick is going to be De La Rosa because she has 3 ways of winning. And Lipsky has half of one. So the pick is De La Rosa. I can't bet her at minus 275. Can't trust her there at all. So let's go with violence, baby. This says plus 200 for an under. De La Rosa, most of her wins are by submission. Lipsky, her wins are by knockout and submission. Hey, take the under. I would say don't bet this fight. There's a lot of these I don't really want to bet. But if you're going to, be under. Violence bet, baby. That's the only way you can go, in all honesty, and have any sort of care in the world. You can parlay Montana if you want. Don't get me wrong. That's perfectly fine. Don't put her in a ton because, again, I don't know if she's going to go out there and prove a point trying to box. But at the same time, if you want to try to make some money, hey, I'm feeling wild after the last event. Plus 200 on the under. I might personally take a shot. I might. Why not? All right. Next fight of the night. My man, Makwan Americani. I love this dude. I love this dude because he is kill or be killed. I needed this dude to fight Daniel Pineda and give me the under. That would be the easiest bet I ever made in my life. He was originally set to take on Nate Landwehr. Nate had to pull out. So now we have Kamala Kirk. And the over-under isn't out yet, the totals. I mean, it's another late replacement. A lot of love coming in on Kirk, and I don't get it, in all honesty. Makwan, I understand. Look at his picture. I understand that Makwan has a lot of issues with his cardio. It's very suspect. I understand that his stand-up is developing, just like Montana De La Rosa, but it's not the best. But I see it developing. He has great wrestling. This dude is a Finnish wrestling champion. Like he's he's one of the best wrestlers in the weight class. And then in regards to his submissions, top notch, black belt on the ground. So he has all of the tools. If he could get his cardio together, he'd be fine. It's not that he has a weak chin. I know he shows some losses via being finished. But a lot of that is just his cardio giving out on him. The Shane Burgos one, he was winning that fight. He just got tired and he got finished. Edson Barbosa, Edson's just world class on the ground and is really tough to take down. That was a bad style matchup for Makwan. He tried, he looked all right, but it wasn't the best style. Arnold Allen has proven to be a stud. Split decision, man. If he had a little bit of more cardio, he would have won that fight. So I know that he claims that he has taken people out of his life that he doesn't need to be around, stop drinking and smoking and all of this stuff. And it was supposed to be his coming out party last fight against Edson Barbosa. His cardio looked better, so I believe that he did what he said he did. But Edson was just on another level that night. And I can tell you right now that Kirk is no Barbosa. Kirk, I honestly don't know too much about. I know that he too is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and I know that he got knocked out by Billy Tarantino. Don't get me wrong, Billy Q, Buffalo, New York, represent. Let's go Bills, baby. I love Billy Q. Not known as a knockout guy. He is not known for his power whatsoever. And you know what? The reason was that he got knocked out. Kirk came out and won the first round that Contender Series fight. He came out, took down Billy Q, which seems pretty easy to do in all honesty. So not as impressive as it once would have been. He came out, took down Billy Q, looked good first round. Landed like 100 significant strikes. Again, Billy Q doesn't really believe in takedown defense or striking defense. I love Billy Q. I think he's good. He's more of a volume, a quantity versus quality guy. And Kirk was trying to take advantage of that and gassed out. So if you're telling me Kirk is good on the ground, he's a black belt. You know what? Makwan's a black belt. It balances out. If you're telling me Kirk is decent on the feet, but could use a little work, Makwan is decent on the feet, could use a little work. He was outstriking Shane Burrows. It was predominantly on the feet. That first round and a half, Makwan outstruck Shane Burrows. So I'd give a slight edge to Makwan on the feet. If you're telling me that Kirk has suspect cardio, well, so does Makwan. They cancel out. And then if you're going to tell me Kirk is a decent wrestler, I can tell you that Makwan is a Finnish wrestler champion. So if they're the same fighter and Makwan's a touch better everywhere, I'm taking Makwan 110%. I know I try not to let my personal bias get in the way, but at the same time, I can't not bet fighters I like just because of it. The minus 250 is an issue. I don't like that at all. You can parlay Makwan, but I wouldn't do it in a ton of parlays, in all honesty. I like the guy a lot. I don't agree with this line. It's a little too rich for my blood. I'll have him in one parlay just because it's my boy. So the pick is Makwan. The bet is going to be Makwan or the over. But I don't know what the totals are, so I need to see what that is first. All right, next fight of the night. You want to talk about people that are untrustworthy? We got Mr. Untrustworthy himself, Tom Breeze, going up against Antonio Arroyo. Tom Breeze coming in at a minus 255 favorite. Hell no. We have Antonio Arroyo coming in at a plus 195 dog. Hell no. These guys are not to be trusted. The over 2.5 is plus 110. The under 2.5 is minus 140. I understand as well. Tom Breeze is good. Tom Breeze is top 10 good. The problem with Tom Breeze is his mental capacity. I understand anxiety. I have family members who deal with anxiety. Understand the situation 110%. Sympathize with the situation 110%. But you are a professional fighter. That is not a good job to have if you have a lot of mental issues. I understand. It's just he's so goddamn talented that if he was all the way together up here, this dude would be top. God, he could even be top 5 if he really put his mind to it at 85. Top 5, top 10. He's that good. He's real crisp on the feet, man. He is smooth. That's the only word I could think of for him. He is smooth on the feet. He's a nasty at jujitsu. I know he's only like a purple belt or brown belt, one of the two. But people, a lot of analysts say that like people or fellow fighters say that this dude is black belt level on the ground. And we saw it. I mean, if you look at his last fight against Amari, Omari's good on the ground, and he had him pretty in some serious danger. I know it says that he got choked out in the second round because he did, but he had Omari in some serious trouble in the first round on the ground. Like the dude is good on the ground. It was off his back and everything. Like he's good everywhere. There's not a weak spot. His cardio's fine from when you see it. It's just fights that are getting canceled. Like it was Ian Heinisch, this Ian Heinisch fight. This was 2019. It's only 2 years ago. He was having an anxiety attack in the back and couldn't compete. Like that's not okay. That's not good. You can't trust this guy to make it out to the octagon. How can you trust him if he's on a losing effort? Great hammer, terrible nail. So if he faces any sort of adversity, we're in a little bit of trouble. And Arroyo sucks. When you look at him, you just have a sour taste in your mouth thinking about his last fight against Duran Win. Duran Win was fighting. He was wrestling for his fucking job, man. Duran came out, blast double after blast double, and Antonio Arroyo had no answer. Arroyo is bad. He's not good. He's a decent kickboxer, but he's only got 3 minutes of cardio. His cardio is probably the worst in the division. I've never seen anything like it. It's very very, very bad. So I mean, Breeze has the edge everywhere. I mean, on the feet, you could say it's a tie. I'll give Arroyo it's a tie for 3 minutes. At the end of the first round, he'll have nothing left. So I have Breeze as a better overall fighter in every aspect of the MMA game, except for mental capacity. So, I mean, even his fight IQ is still better. It's just, is he going to be mentally there the whole time? So I understand the minus 255 price tag. It's just trusting someone with anxiety at minus 255 is rough. And you look at the over under, I could see Breeze coming out and finishing Arroyo quickly, but it's not like that happens often. Duran Win decision, it was a loss. Andre Muniz decision was a loss. I mean, he got rear naked choked in 2017, but again, like I said for Muzzle, that was 4 years ago. He also got guillotined though, so if I have Breeze winning, it's probably by decision or submission. In all honesty, you could see what the props are there to make it a little better, and that's definitely the way I would go. I mean, the fight pick is going to be Breeze. I can't do dog or pass because I can't trust Arroyo. So I would definitely do a prop with Breeze, and I would take the submission or the decision and kind of go from there. Or if you really want, you can put Breeze in a parlay. But again, a lot of these parlay pieces they should win 70% of the time, but that's not great odds for parlays. It could blow up a lot of them. So I would probably just go with a prop for decision or submission. Next fight, we have what's probably going to end up being fight of the night, in all honesty, or knockout of the night. Dusko Terodovich going up against Gregory Rodriguez. Dusko, man. Dusko's a minus 150 favorite. Comeback on Rodriguez is plus 120. The over is set at 1.5. And there's a reason. The over 1.5 is minus 125. Under 1.5 is minus 105. Man, Dusko is the definition of fighting with your hands down. He does not believe in keeping his hands up. He is a stand-up fighter and will not keep his hands up. He refuses. He thinks it's overrated, apparently, and refuses to fight with his hands up. I've never seen anything like it. And you can get away with it when you're fighting Daquan Townsend and Teddy Ash. And dude, he beat Michelle Pereira. I don't know how. I mean, again, Michelle's at welterweight right now, so I mean, I get that. But still, Michelle Pereira is no joke. And the finish, I watched that fight. It was weird. It was kind of a weird fight. But again, he got lucky there. You can't keep fighting with your hands down. The dude packs a punch. He's a little skinny guy, but he packs some power, in all honesty. He's weird. He's loose. He really, really fights like Stephen Thompson. He thinks he's Wonder Boy, only he has no chin. And he gets hit. The thing with Wonder Boy, he can fight with his hands low like that because he doesn't get touched. Dusko gets touched a lot. He has 10 wins. He's gotten dropped in like 8 of those fights. He gets dropped all the time. It's just he's able to retaliate and then go ahead and knock you out. Paulo Soriano wasn't that guy. That wasn't the one to mess with, in all honesty. He dished it out. It's like, yeah, Soriano, what you got? And Soriano answered back, and Dusko didn't know what to do when he went out. The thing is, Gregory Rodriguez, he hits hard, man. He's just really, really stiff. It's weird. He is a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt. This dude is a stud on the ground. But his last submission win was in like 2017. Like, he refuses to use his ground game. I don't know why he won't use what he's good at. He's one of these guys that just fell in love with his power. You see a lot of times wrestlers that stop wrestling because it's tiring, and they're like, oh, if I can just knock you out, and they fall in love with their power. He's a jiu-jitsu guy that's done this. I get Anderson Silva was a black belt before, and he just started knocking people out, and he fell in love with it. The problem is Anderson Silva was smooth, man. Gregory is not. This dude is as stiff as a board, and he's not a good striker whatsoever. Just because you have the power doesn't mean you can land a punch. So, I mean, if he really, really wanted to, I would say he could just take down Dusko and tap him out, but Dusko's takedown defense is decent, and Rodriguez wrestling isn't the greatest. It really doesn't look that good. So he's one of these guys that are nasty on the ground, but can't get it there. And maybe that's why he started striking. He has power. Why is he wasting his time and effort going for these takedowns he can't get? So, I mean, the problem is he has a glass chin as well. Like we saw him knocked out in the Contender Series by Jordan Williams. Jordan Williams has diabetes and cannot cut weight. Jordan Williams is not a middleweight. Gregory Rodriguez looked 2 weight classes bigger than Jordan Williams because Rodriguez is a huge middleweight. Jordan Williams could fight at lightweight or welterweight, but he can't physically cut weight because of his health condition, and he got flatlined. Williams flatlined Rodriguez. So Dusko, without 110%, can do the exact same thing, but so could Rodriguez because Dusko also gets dropped all the time, and he got finished the last time he got dropped. So you have 2 guys that neither one of them want to keep their hands up, neither one of them have any sort of striking defense, and neither one of them have any type of chin, and they both have power. Jeez, give me the under. I don't care that it's 1.5, that it's 1.5. It's minus 105. It was even money. It was positive. It was plus money at first. Now it's, it's getting steamed a lot. Jump on it and jump on it quickly. Because there's not a chance in hell this fight is going all 3 rounds. Take the under. If you really, really want to be positive, take the under 2.5. But the under 1.5 at minus 105, when I checked a few days ago, jump on that ASAP before, because this thing is going to get steamed to minus 150 at a minimum. So make sure you hop on this now. All right. So next fight's one of the toughest ones to call. We have Santiago Posinibio at minus 110, Miguel Beza at minus 120. This line, a lot of money's coming in on Posinibio, and justifiably so. I mean, the over is the over 1.5 is minus 162. The under 1.5 is plus 132. Santiago, man, it's interesting. You look at him, and the first thing you think about is this massive win streak. It was like a 7 or 8 fight win streak. He is knocking out the likes of Mike Perry and Neil Magny. Now, don't get me wrong. The Neil Magny win, good win. Great knockout. Mike Perry, shown to be a little overrated. Gunnar Nelson, a little overrated. Taleb, a little overrated. Zach Cummings, overrated. Court McGee, gatekeeper, a little overrated. Like the guys he's knocking out, I mean, he's doing his job and he's getting finishes. And knocking out Court McGee is not easy. But at the same time, it's like these are good wins, not great wins. It's not like he's getting a title fight off of these wins. And then he takes that long break. He has a serious leg injury, man. It takes 3 years of his career. Now he's coming back. He's 34 years old, about to be 35, just a little bit away from being 35. He's coming back. And when you're older, your body doesn't react the way it used to. And it's just, he didn't look the greatest coming back. So I don't know if you attribute it to his age or if you attribute it to his opponent. I mean, the Leech is okay. He's not the greatest fighter, but he's not bad. He's okay. Or do you attribute it to his ring rust? Like, which one was it? And no one really knows. You just know that the power is going to stay there. We know that. His striking, you can get stiffer when you get older. He looked a little stiff, but was that his age or was that his injury or was that ring rust? We don't know. What we do know is that Miguel Bieza is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. That's what he's known for. But just like Rodriguez, he's one of these guys that are falling in love with his power, and justifiably so. He's 10-0. It's just his wins, man. They're not impressive. You look at his record. I don't know who any of these people are. Gus D'Angelo, Mike D'Angelo. I don't know. What are they, brothers? They're 0-2, 0-0, 3-2, 2-2, 5-2, 5-2. I mean, they're not great wins. Hector Aldana was probably one of the worst people in the division at 170, honestly, in the UFC. So he beats a scrub, right? And then they give him Matt Brown. And Matt Brown, ancient Matt Brown last year comes out and rocks his shit. Like, Miguel was out on his feet, popped up, and he has kind of the cross side, not really know where he's going on, survives, and then comes back and rocks Matt Brown, and then finishes Matt Brown. So, like, you start looking at it and you think, does he have a suspect chin or did Matt Brown just crack him? We don't really know. So then you look at the next fight, Takashi Sato. It's not like that's a stud either, but he did what he was supposed to do. He came out and he got his first submission win, even though he's a black belt. And he came out and he got that sub. I mean, he's good. The kid's good. He's an overall talent. He's young. He's only 28. He's someone that the UFC really wants to push, and they're trying to give him a name with Santiago. I just don't know. If Santiago lost his last fight because he's old and he's hurt, then this is perfect for Miguel Bieza. If Santiago lost his last fight because of ring rust, he is going to destroy the Miguel Bieza train. So it's really on which one you believe in. At that juncture, I was going to just go dog or pass. I was going to pick Santiago because he has a lot more experience. I mean, he has 31 pro fights. Bieza has 10. So the pick is going to be Santiago. But all the money's coming in on Santiago. If this line flips, I'm going to take whoever the dog is. So right now it's even money. If it flips all the way to where Miguel is the dog, I will take Bieza. If money comes back in on Miguel and Santiago's a dog again, I will take Santiago. So this is a sheer dog or pass. Whoever the dog is who I'll be betting. So make sure you watch that line. All right, and we're down to the last three fights of the night. And this one, oh my gosh, we have my boy Roman Dolidze. Oh my God, he's coming in at a -150 favorite. The definition of can't be trusted, and he's going up against Lorana Strapoli. Man, we had the over 2.5 at -182, under 2.5 at +150. Let's start with my boy Roman. Bro, this guy is the man. This dude won a lot of world championship grappling matches, and he fought at heavyweight, man. He was weighing in at like 220. He was a big dude. He looked a little flabby at 220, I'm not going to lie. It's not like he came in 220 all muscle jacked. He was flabby. He's a chunky little guy, but he was solid. He was real solid in jiu-jitsu. He knows what he's good at, and he's a world champ, baby. He's good. He has a ton of power. He fought a lot. His whole career he was fighting at 205 when it came to mixed martial arts. Undefeated. Never lost at 205. And he decided, you know what? I'm older. I'm 32. This is my prime. This is the time I have to go. I'm going to do the best I can. I'm looking at some of these guys like John Jones, and I'm looking at these Yuri Prohaskas and Jans. These guys are huge. I can make middleweight. I'm going to devote myself. I'm going to make middleweight. I'm going to become a middleweight world champ. And this dude makes middleweight his last fight easily. Looks good on the scale. Nothing wrong with him. The problem is, I mean, he did take an L. Trevin Giles, it was 50-50. It says unanimous decision. A lot of people had Roman winning that fight. A lot of people had Trevin. That was the definition of a 50-50 fight. That thing was close. And it's Roman's fault that it was close. Because Roman, man, I love the guy. He's so entertaining to watch. He's so talented. I love the guys that can strike and work on the ground. His wrestling's decent. It's not the greatest, but it's not bad. It's there. It's good, is how I would categorize it. His power, huge power. His striking, stiff. He's a little slow, but that power, man, and it looks good. He throws spinning crap. He doesn't care. He's cool because he doesn't. If he gets taken down, he's so good on the ground. He doesn't care. So he throws wild stuff. But his fight IQ is bad. He's one of these guys that is talking to his corner in the middle of the fight, and all you'll ever hear about is his fight against Alan Erlan, where he literally had him. He knocked him down, could have finished him, and talks to his corner and goes, "Do you want me to submit him instead?" And then shoots for a heel hook. It just dives on it and loses the position. And Alon recovers, and then he ends up winning a decision. But like, he could have finished him. He dropped him. Talks to his corner and goes, "How do you want me to finish the fight?" Like, this guy's nuts. I love this guy. He's cool. He's just a fun guy to watch. Do not trust this dude with your money. That's how I look at it. But then you look at the other side of Staropoli. When you look at him, you just think he's a training partner of the champ Charles Oliveira. Cool. I mean, that doesn't make you a world champ. And the thing is, he used to fight at 170. He's coming up to 185. So you have Delice coming down from 205 to 185. You have Staropoli coming up from 170 to 185. So there's going to be a big strength and reach advantage in regards to Delice. Another reason to like him here. Staropoli's striking's good. It's not great. It's not bad. It's just good. He's durable, man. He's really tough to finish. His cardio, questionable. He doesn't gas, but he doesn't stay up with it. He slows during the course of the fight. Delice gasses. I'll be honest with you. He has 2 good rounds in him, and then he gets super tired. So I'll give Staropoli the edge in cardio. I'll give him the edge in striking, but he doesn't hit hard. He's not a finisher. I mean, you look at his record here. He has some finishes on the regional scene, but like that's Combate and stuff. Once he hit the UFC, Hector Aldana, everyone finishes Hector Aldana. Everyone and their mother finishes Hector Aldana, and he couldn't do so. It was a decision. Thiago Alves is like 80 years old. This is the corpse of Thiago Alves. Couldn't finish Thiago Alves, and actually was getting outstruck by Thiago Alves. So that's really questionable. Then he fought Muslim. Like we said, Muslim's decent. We talked about him earlier. Just got pieced up on the feet. And then Tim Means, same thing. Only difference is Tim Means took him down multiple times. And you know what? So did Muslim. They both took him down like 3 times. And that's really concerning considering Tim Means is not the greatest wrestler. And Muslim, we just talked about how he's not good at wrestling. So if he gets taken down 3 times by a karate expert and Roman's takedowns are okay, you would say, well, Roman could just take him down and he's world-class on the ground and just submit him easily. But you have to remember, the lead say, how do I finish the fight? Like he wants to decide how he's gonna do it. If it was confident, if he had any sort of fight IQ, he would take him down, and this would be a no-brainer. I would be smashing max betting the -150 with Roman. He is the better fighter. I'm definitely gonna pick him to win. Can I trust him with my money? Fuck no. Can I trust Staropoli? Absolutely not. So they're both kind of durable. So I would honestly just bet the over -182. Delice straight up is only -150. Fuck it. Take the value. Trust Roman. I don't know why, because he's the man. Fuck it. At least if you're gonna lose, at least you'll laugh doing it. So take Roman. He's the better fighter. Just trust the better fighter. Take the better odds. So we're gonna pick Roman. We're gonna bet Roman, and you know what? I'll do it with you. but I will not be throwing him in a ton of parlays, just one. All righty. Then we are to the co-main event of the evening. We have the big ticket, Walt Harris going up against Marcin Tybura. We have Walt Harris coming in at plus 140, Marcin Tybura at minus 175. The big ticket. When you look at this dude, he is the definition of power. Former D1 basketball player that said, you know what? I'm not going to make it to the league. I hit pretty fucking hard. Let me try this fighting thing out. You know, I like fighting anyway. Let's try it out. Here's the thing with Walt Harris. You're going to see a common theme here. Tell me if you recognize it. Let's look at his wins. Flying knee knockout. Knees and punches knockout. Win, punches knockout. Ground and pound knockout. Knees and punches knockout. Punches knockout. Punches knockout. KO round one. Punches knockout. Are you seeing a reoccurring theme here? This dude has 13 wins. All 13 wins are by knockout. This dude is the definition of power. You think about Derek Lewis, you think about Francis Ngannou, Rozenstruik. You look at these guys and they say they have the death touch. If there's any just a touch below the death touch, Walt motherfucking Harris. This dude hits hard. His takedown defense is like at 70%. So it's not that he's easy to take down. It's pretty hard to take him down. It's just this dude's gas tank. Bro, he's got 3 minutes in him and he kind of struggles. I mean, if he's up, he'll be able to kind of like manage. He has a few where he went to decision. I mean, he went to decision with, God, who did he go to decision with? I want to say it was Arlovsky. Gosh, where is it? Where all his fights end in the first and second round? Good Lord. Yeah. I know he went to decision somewhere along the way. I don't know why I can't see it right now. But irregardless, here, Shamil. Okay, here we go. That was a decision. He lost actually, but at the same time, it was a split decision. He made it all 15. So his mental capacity will allow him to physically go 15 minutes. But if you pressure him when he's tired, you're pretty liable to get the finish. You just look at his last fight. Volkov just put in a lot of work on his body until finally he kind of succumbed to it. Alistair Overeem, you look at that domination. He came out there and killed Overeem, almost finished him, gassed himself out. Overeem came out, took him 3 minutes the next round. It's knockout or bust. I mean, his fights are 12 seconds long, 50 seconds long. This dude has some power, the definition of power. But that's all he has. It's knockout or bust. And in all honesty, you look at Tybura, he has great cardio for being someone that size. His wrestling's pretty good. His jiu-jitsu's great for this weight class. He has one weakness. His striking's decent. In all honesty, Tybura's not a bad fighter. Something about him I just don't like. But he's not terrible. He's pretty well-rounded. Those are usually the type of guys I like. But he does have one minor weakness. And you look at it, it's Augusta Sakai knocked him out in 50 seconds. Shamil knocked him out in the second round. Derek Lewis knocked him out in the third round. You're seeing a common theme here where he gets knocked out a ton. He has 6 losses. 4 of them are by knockout. And he's fighting the big ticket, who all he does is knock you out. So you're really going talent over power. I will always go talent over power. However, the odds minus 175 for Tybura aren't the worst. Eesh. Walt Harris plus 140. So the pick, without a doubt, unequivocally, is going to be Marcin Tybura. When it comes to the bet itself, I really, really want to bet Harris. And I really want to bet him by like round 1 KO. That way you can cash it. If these are some crazy odds where it's like plus 1,000 on round 1 KO or plus, it's not going to be. Even if it's like plus 500 on Harris round 1 KO, I'll take the shot. Otherwise, if it's anything lesser, I'm just going to take Tybura for the bet as well. So look at a knockout prop in round 1. It has to be a round 1 knockout prop to get any sort of value. Look at that for Harris. And then otherwise, I would just bet Tybura and eat the chalk because he's just the overall better fighter in all honesty. Then it takes you to the main event of the evening. One of the fights that I'm least looking forward to. We have overrated Jairzinho Rozenstruik going against overrated Augusto Sakai. We have Rozenstruik coming in at minus 130, the lowest I've seen on him in a while. And then we have Sakai coming in at even money. The over 1.5 is at minus 215. Under 1.5 is plus 165. I'll be honest with you, I hate this fight. I don't like either fighter. I think they both suck. I'll take Sakai. He's a punches and bunches type of guy first. He's 15-2. His record is better than he really is. He has nothing to offer on the ground whatsoever. His takedown defense is not good whatsoever. His cardio is not good whatsoever. He has 2 rounds in him. And he's a volume striker. So it's like, if it's a 3-round fight, he can manage. He's durable. I'll give him that. I mean, you look at his only loss in the UFC was a finish with Alistar, and again, it took him into the 5th round. Well, more like the 4th round. He got saved by the bell, and then he just fell over and got finished in the 5th round. So he's got 2 rounds of cardio in him. He'll survive 3 rounds. The problem is this is a 5-round fight. So Augusto Sakai is unequivocally going to come out and win the first round because Rozenstruik doesn't fucking throw, man. He just sits there and he stares. He's a kickboxer. He talks about, I need to be first, but then he never does anything. Like, I don't like this guy. He doesn't do anything. He has no volume whatsoever. His last fight was a 5-rounder, and it was one of the most boring fights. And Dana White chastised both him and Gon for it. It was a bad fight because he doesn't throw. He has the death touch. He wants to counter fight. He wants a counter punch, which is all honesty good for him considering Kasai, Augusto Sakai loves to go first. So, I mean, if he wants a counter punch, this is the matchup for it. And he has cardio. I mean, he's gone 5 rounds before. He looked fine. He went 5 rounds twice. I mean, even his win against Alistair Overeem, I mean, he won with 4 seconds left in the fight. And it's not like he was falling over tired. He was fine. So he's got cardio. He's honestly got the better striking. He just doesn't throw it all. He doesn't throw anything. He has no volume. But he's very, very durable. He has 1 knockout loss, and that's the Frankie murder. I mean, what are you supposed to do? They came out. They both swung as hard as they could. And they said one of us are going to drop. And Rozenstruik dropped because Francis Ngannou is fucking ridiculous. So he got knocked out by Ngannou, and he went toe-to-toe. He wanted to prove a point. I respect that. Otherwise, he doesn't throw at all. And I mean, if you want to counter strike against Sakai, in all honesty, this is the one where it would work. So I'll pick Rozenstruik. The bet, I'm not trusting either one of these guys. They're both bad. I would go the over 1.5 in all honesty. Because, yeah, I'm going to go the over. Minus 215 is a little bit much. It's a little much, but hey, I'm not, you can't trust either one of these guys. And at this point, I would just go the over and play safe. If Rozenstruik's durable and he doesn't throw often and it's going to take him a little bit, give him a round and a half to find that counter strike. That's what it took for JDS. I feel like it's going to be the same with Sakai. And Sakai is durable. He only got knocked out because of exhaustion. He didn't go out cold or anything like that. He literally just fell over from being tired against Overeem. So give me the over minus 215. Otherwise, that's your event. I'm feeling not so hot about it. It's not my favorite card, but we are coming off of a heater. So, I mean, at that point, what are you supposed to do? We hit 12 for 12 last event. That's all I can say. We're going to try to win money here. We have a ton of dogs. We have a lot of totals. And then from there, we're just going to take some shots and see what we can do. Otherwise, let's get paid, baby.